We are recording and
The
start
broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, folks. Hope you all are having an amazing afternoon. My name is Carlos Ramirez. I am the program manager here at Norwegian Cruise Line. And this evening we will be going over your pre-cruise details on your amazing Alaska vacation, cruise tour vacation coming up on Norwegian Cruise Line. I'm also joined by Chris Calvin, Director of Owner Programs at Bluegreen Vacations. She will be hosting the webinar, and she'll be taking over in a few minutes. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about just the history and where Norwegian came from for those of you that are not familiar with our product. So Norwegian Cruise Line was founded about 49 years. Next year will be 50 years for our 50th year anniversary. And basically we were built on the freestyle concept, meaning Norwegians do what they want, when they want it, at whatever time they want it. So when you choose a Norwegian vacation, there are no set times or any set limitations when it comes to our onboard product. You can dine when you want, at the time you want it. You can see whatever entertainment you want at your leisure, or if you choose to relax, you can do so as well. And that's where with the freestyle and the Norwegian Cruise Line branding means, again, is you choose your destination, you choose your ship. Our ships are built for the freestyle concept, meaning that they're all purpose built. So this particular ship that you're sailing on is built for this type of itinerary that you will be attending in Alaska. So with that, I will open it up to Chris. Chris will take over and go over the programming for your Alaska cruise tour vacation.
Thank you very much, Carlos, and welcome, Alaska goers. We're glad you're joining us tonight for this webinar. I want to give you a lot of information that you're going to need prior to your trip, and then give you a little more feedback on what's going to be happening during your trip. So before I get started, though, I want to do a little housekeeping, and that is this evening you will be muted, so you will not be able to speak to me. However, you do have the opportunity to ask questions through, there's a question box or a chat box feature that will be located on the right-hand side of your screen. If you're not seeing that box, you should see a little strip, and there's a little tiny red box at the top with an arrow. If you click on that, that will expand your menu there, and then you'll scroll down and you'll see where you can type in questions. And when I'm completed with my presentation, Carlos will read the questions, and then we'll get answers for you. And if we can't get to them tonight, we will certainly follow up with you after tonight. So with that, we want to start with a little bit of information you need to know before you go, and that is the must-dos. You need to check in for your cruise online at least 1 week prior to departure. Now, if you haven't done that yet, or you're not sure how to do that, I'm going to take you out to the website now, and we're at ncl.com right now. And you'll come up here, and you're going to see where my little cursor is. It says log into my NCL. If you haven't yet registered for an NCL account, you can click on register and then fill out the fields for registration. But if you had, you're going to click on to log in to my NCL, and you'll enter your information here. And then once you log in, it's going to take you to a page where you can see your upcoming vacations, and it'll give you the option to check in online. Okay? So I'm going to take you back to the presentation now, but we do want you to make sure you get that done at least 1 week prior to your departure, and you can do that now. So if we get off the phone tonight, you want to do it, that would be great. That way it's one less thing you have to worry about before we get going. Next thing, reconfirm your flights 24 hours prior to departure. In fact, you can check in for your flight 24 hours prior to departure. If you do it more than 24 hours, it will tell you it's not available at this time. So make sure you reconfirm your flights, reconfirm the schedule, because schedule changes do happen, and we want to make sure that you're, not headed to the airport and find out that it's 4 hours later before your flight's going to take off. Passport. All passengers must have a valid passport. We will be going into British Columbia, Canada. So make sure that you have your passport with you, and in fact, we recommend that you make a copy of your passport so that you can keep your original in your cabin in a safe, but when you're out and about, you take that copy with you so that you don't have a chance of actually losing that passport when you're on the trip. If for some reason you needed it, the copy will suffice until you would have your actual passport. Medication. If you have prescribed medications, they must be in the original bottle that's provided by the pharmacy with the prescription label affixed to the bottle. And we need you to prepare accordingly for that. So if right now you've taken your your medication and you've put it into one of those little pill holders, you'll need to put it back into the bottles that they actually came in with the prescription labels. To make sure that, if for some reason you were asked to prove what the medication was and that it was for you, you've got that information. And going back to the passport, you should also leave a copy of it at home. Because let's say, for instance, if you were to lose that passport and the copy that you took with you, you still need to have a copy of it available so that you can take care of matters when you get back. If you have any special needs or special requests, you need to make arrangements with NCL prior to the trip. Now, to do that, you should contact their access desk immediately at this phone number, which is 866-584-9756, or you can email them at accessdesk@ncl.com. But if you have any special requirements, whether it's dietary requirements, physical mobility needs, anything like that, if you have requirements, medical equipment, anything like that, please contact NCL's access desk. They'll need to know that you're going to be bringing, let's say you have a CPAP machine. I understand we have some people with service dogs that are going to be on board, so we need to let them know that. So if there's anything out of the ordinary, out of the usual, please contact the access desk and let them know. Your meals are not included in the pre-cruise land portion of your trip. Obviously, once you get on the cruise ship, all of your meals are included on the cruise ship. But prior to the cruise, the meals are not included. You will have some opportunities to purchase lunch on the tours, but not very many. So we encourage you, when it comes to the tours, to bring snacks and beverages with you. And especially if you have special dietary needs, to bring those with you. There's going to be a small little light snack provided on one of the tours, but it is very light. And we want to make sure no one goes hungry on the trip. So just be advised that the tours do not include your lunch, dinner, or breakfast on your pre-cruise trip. Now, some general information you need to know. Transfers from the airport to the Hilton Anchorage are included in your package. For anyone that's arriving on August 6th, those transfers are going to be provided by NCL, and there will be an NCL representative meeting you at the baggage claim. And they will have NCL uniforms on. They'll have a sign-up that says NCL, so should be easy to spot. Now, if you're arriving prior to August 6th and you've asked us for transfers, you're going to be met by a representative from Shuttleman in the baggage claim area. So look for a Shuttleman representative. They will have a list with them. It will have your name on it, so they'll know you're coming. And also just wanted to let you know that your flights are going to be monitored to see if you have any delays that are going to affect your transfers. But in addition to that, if you know there is something coming up, you have an emergency, you need to contact someone, we will give you an emergency contact number as we get closer to the travel date, so you can call someone if you feel the need to be in touch beforehand. The weather while you're there is going to be in the 60s. Going to be much cooler in the morning, and obviously it'll warm up in the afternoon. So you should dress in layers that you can shed when the temperatures rise. So we also recommend that you bring light hats, gloves, even rain gear, because it may rain while you're there. And it gets a little cool when you're up on deck of the ship. So, you do want to have a jacket and sweater, and, just keep in mind you can always peel the layers off if you're getting too warm. And highly recommend that you bring some binoculars. Carlos already went into the NCL dress code and the freestyle cruising and what all that means. So just to reiterate, there's no fixed dining times or pre-assigned seating, so you can dine when you want, where you want, with whomever you want. You can dress up if you like, or you can just dress casually. They will tell you on the cruise ship when there are dress-up nights, and throughout the ship they have photographers on board, so you can have your photos taken. There's no charge, no photo fee to have your photo taken, but if you want to purchase the actual photos, they're available to you. And I can tell you personally that my husband and I went on a trip and actually had some professional photos taken because we hadn't had any taken in a long time, and it was a nice opportunity to do that. So, and there was no sitting fee. So if you want to do that, bring some nice clothes and just plan to have a nice family photo taken. Your luggage. Each guest is allowed 2 pieces of checked luggage on both the land portion of your tour as well as the cruise portion. But I will advise you that you are responsible for any baggage fees that are imposed by the airlines as well as any guidelines they may have. Usually bags under 50 pounds are just subject to the regular fee, but if your bag is over 50 pounds, they do charge a surcharge. So just keep that in mind when you're packing, that you want to keep it under 50 pounds or you'll be assessed a surcharge on that. Do not pack your medication in your luggage while you're traveling. You're going to want to carry that with you in the event that your luggage could possibly be lost. You don't want to have that medication in the luggage and then be without it, because replacing it would be very difficult long distance. So keep that medication with you when you're traveling. And just want you to know that your suitcases are going to be collected on the last night of your cruise. I know some folks on the cruise are first-timers, so the last evening you're going to pack all your things up and put your luggage outside the door. So we recommend that you bring a small overnight bag for any personal items you're going to be keeping with you. So your toiletries, clothing, any valuables you don't want to put in your suitcase, travel documents, your passport, all of those things. Keep that with you. And there will certainly be information in your cabin that tells you all the details on when things have to be ready and where you need to go and that type of thing. If you are interested in bringing wine or champagne on board, that is allowed. There's no limit to the amount you can bring, but you do need to be advised that you will be charged a corkage fee for all bottles, and that is regardless of whether you actually consume the wine or champagne or not. So $15 for the smaller bottle, the 750 mLs, $20 for the 1,000 mLs, and $30 for the 1,500 mLs, and that is per bottle. So just keep in mind you will be charged that fee when you bring it on board, and that's regardless of whether you consume the wine or not. If you have multiple electrical devices you need to plug in simultaneously, or you have medical equipment that's needed bedside, definitely pack an extension cord, or even 2. You're going to need that because there aren't outlets directly next to the beds, so you do need to have an extension cord if you have some equipment that you want to have next to the bed. Fire hazards, any items that might present a fire hazard, such as an iron or a steamer or candles, they are prohibited and they will be removed from your luggage if they're found in your luggage. Curling irons, flat irons, hair dryers, all of those items are permitted. But just to confirm, if you're bringing something and you're not sure it fits into the fire hazard category, look at your cruise documents, and it should have a list of items on the cruise documents as what are prohibited and what are allowable. Okay, now we are going to switch over to our itinerary, which is going to be fantastic. starting with day 1, which is August 6th. And you're going to arrive in Anchorage and be transferred over to the Hilton Anchorage. And when you get to the hotel, you will see a welcome desk that will be set up for you in the lobby. It'll be open from noon until 9 p.m., which coincides with everybody's flight schedule, so we won't miss anybody. And then you're going to have that evening to look around in Anchorage on your own. So I highly recommend, prior to traveling, go online and look and see what things are to do that you can do in Anchorage while you're there, and just maybe find some place to eat, nice restaurant, just enjoy your time there. On day 2, you're going to have breakfast on your own in the morning, and then you are going to head over to the train station and take this lovely dome-class train to Denali. And you can see it's all windows, so you're going to be able to watch the incredible landscaping as you drive by. There are snacks and beverages available for purchase on the train. Recommend eating breakfast first, but if you need something to eat on the train, because it is a long train ride, you're not going to get into Denali until about 3:45. So just keep that in mind. You might want to bring games, cards, reading materials, anything you think you'll need for a long train ride, or you can just visit with one another. You're going to check in at the Denali Park Village Hotel. And that evening, you're going to be on your own. And if you'd like some information about the hotel or what you can do in the area, there's a web address on here. On the screen, you can see it's www.denaliparkvillage.com. Or you can go over to the government website, which is a very long web address here. You can access it through the Denali Park Village website, and it'll give you a lot of information about the hotel as well as the surrounding area. Now, I will tell you, at the hotel there are a couple of restaurants. One is called the Gold Rush Dining Room. It is open for breakfast from 5 a.m. to 10:30, and then lunch 11 to 2:30, and then dinner each evening from 5 to 10:30 p.m. Then there's also the Lucky Miss Saloon, which is an authentic Alaskan saloon, and that is open for lunch starting at 11 o'clock, and it goes through 12 a.m. So there's plenty of time for you to get some food at the Lucky Miss Saloon if you're needing a bite to eat. And then there's also the Quigley's Coffee Cart, which is a common area that's open all day, and you can get some coffee. So you can get some hand-dipped ice creams, too. That sounds good. And a variety of grab-and-go items, and that is open from 5 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. So that is at the Denali Park Village Hotel, where you're going to be staying when you get to Denali. On day 3, that's when you're going to be heading out to Denali National Park. So start your day with a very good breakfast, because this is a 7-hour tour, and while there will be a light snack included, it is a very light snack. It might be just a piece or two of turkey and a piece of cheese and fruit, which is not enough to sustain anyone for 7 hours. So eat a good breakfast. We encourage you, though, to maybe go out and purchase some snacks and beverages that you can bring with you, because we don't want you to be hungry on the trip, and especially if you have any special dietary needs, have something with you that you can snack on along the way. And you can also upgrade the light lunch box to a more fulfilling lunch box that can be purchased at the hotel prior to the trip to the park. So just keep that in mind. Eat a nice hearty breakfast, buy some snacks to bring along with you, snacks and beverages, and if you'd like to upgrade to the more robust lunch box, you can do that. Then once we get done with the Denali tour, we'll come back to the hotel, and you'll have the evening on your own to check out the area and see what's going on. And again, you can go to that website I told you about a little bit ago, the Denali Village Park, or parkvillage.com, to check out, what's available in that area. It gives you information about the park as well. All right, on day 4, you're going to eat breakfast again, and then you're going to travel from Denali over to Happy Trails Kennel in Wasilla, Arkansas, Arkansas. Yeah, that's going to be a really, really incredible diversion from Alaska.
It's a long train ride.
Yeah, just checking to see if you're all awake. Yeah. Anyway, why don't we go to Wasilla, Alaska, and that is what I've been told is where Sarah Palin is from. So maybe when you're there, you can stop in and say hello. But when you get there, you're going to be visiting the Happy Trails Kennel, where you're going to be able to pet some doggies and maybe take one home with you if you can get it in your pocket. Then you're going to leave the kennel at 2 o'clock, and you're going to head over to Anchorage. And when you get into the city of Anchorage, you're going to have a short tour, and then you're going to check in. You're going to leave Anchorage after the tour, and then you're going to head over to Alyeska. Actually, it's in Girdwood, and it's Hotel Alyeska. And we'll check in at the hotel about 6 o'clock, and then you're going to have that evening on your own to look around. So on the screen here, you'll see another web address. It's alyeskaresort.com/hotel/ and again, that'll give you some more area information and let you know what's going on in the area and places you could eat and that type of thing. Okay, on day 5, you're going to have breakfast on your own again, and then you are going to head out the hotel and hitch a ride on this tram and take a tram to the top of Mount Alyeska, which has some incredible views. Then after that trip, you're going to head over to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. You'll spend some time there. And after that, you're going to head over to the port where you're going to embark on the Norwegian Sun about 3:30, and you'll have the remainder of your day on your own. And keep in mind, when you embark on the ship, your luggage will not be there immediately. It might take a couple of hours for that luggage to actually get up to your room. So if there's anything you're needing, again, medication or something special you want out of your bag, make sure you have it out of your bag and with you before you actually give them your luggage, because you might not see it for a few hours. And there will be Bluegreen vacation hosts available for you throughout this whole trip. We've got 4 hosts that are accompanying you on this trip, so you will meet all of them when you get to the hotel in Anchorage at the Hilton Hotel, and they'll have phone numbers and things like that that you can reach them at throughout your trip. All right, at 9 o'clock that night on August 10th, your ship is going to depart and you're on your way to your cruise. Here is the beautiful Norwegian Sun. That's the ship you're going to be sailing on for this trip. And what you're seeing here is the Hubbard Glacier. And so you're going to be at sea and you'll be sailing past this glacier. And you're going to want to be on deck when it goes cruising along so you can see all this scenery. Recommend that you have a jacket when you go on deck because it does get a little bit chilly there. Then on day 7, you're going to arrive in Icy Strait Point, and at this port, you're going to get to explore on your own. And if you haven't booked shore excursions already, they are available for purchase from NCL, and you can book them now before you travel, or you can wait until you get on the cruise ship. However, there's a lot of other people who also want to go on shore excursions, so you may want to book them in advance just to make sure you get the excursions that you're interested in and not take a chance that they'll be sold out. So again, those are available from purchase or for purchase from NCL. You can find them on the website and book them right online. Now at 5 p.m., the ship is going to depart from Icy Strait Point, and everybody needs to be aboard the ship at least 30 minutes prior to departure. And the cruise line, of course, will tell you when the departure is and when you should be back on board. So you'll get in your cabin every day a little newsletter that tells you what the activities are for the day, if you'll be in port, when you'll be in port, when you'll depart, that type of thing. And so you'll have a lot of information at your hands that'll let you know what's going on. In addition to that, for any excursions that we have, which like we have one in Juneau. You'll also get cards from our host that will tell you when we're going to be leaving for the excursion and where to meet for the excursion. And in Juneau, we're going to have the Discover Alaska's Capital Tour, which includes a trip to Mendenhall Glacier. Then you'll also get to sample some smoked salmon, which I can tell you from my trip to Alaska a couple of years ago, it was absolutely delicious. So you get to sample some of that. And 12:30, you're going to be returning to the ship, so it's not a long day in Juneau. And at 1:15, your ship is going to depart, and then you're going to be cruising Sawyer Glacier. On day 9, you're going to arrive in Skagway, and in Skagway, you're going to have the Alaskan Gold Rush Experience Tour. Now, these tours that are included with your cruise are actually tours that have been arranged by Bluegreen. They are not arranged through NCL. They're custom tours for our owners. So you won't find these on NCL's website. These are specific to our group, and again, you will receive cards in your cabin that tell you what tours are up for that day and when you need to meet. Now, the Alaskan, I've been told that these cards are going to be outside your cabin in the little mail slot. It's usually by your room number. There's a little space in between there that they can put something. Now, on your Alaskan Gold Rush Tour, this includes a ride on the White Pass and Yukon Railroad. You're going to climb up that White Summit Pass, and you're going to have lunch. You're going to have a barbecue lunch. This is included on your trip. And again, if it's anything like the lunch I had when we went there, it was absolutely wonderful. You'll return back to the port at 3:15, and the ship doesn't depart until 5 o'clock that day. And of course, you need to be on board at 4:30. So as long as your excursion gets back early enough and there's enough time, you can take a shuttle into town. It's $2 each way, $4 round trip, and kind of explore on your own for a little bit. It's only a half a mile from the port, so it might be quicker for you just to walk there than it is to take the shuttle. But, you know, you can have about an hour or so to check things out before you get back on board the ship. Just, again, make sure you're there at least 30 minutes prior to the ship departing. We don't want anyone to get left behind. Then the next day you're going to be in Ketchikan, and in Ketchikan you're going to go on a fantastic bear country wildlife adventure tour. This was my very favorite tour of the trip when we went to Alaska, and in fact the picture you're looking at here of the bear, that's actually a photo I took on the trip, and I wasn't that close to the bear. I just want you to know, otherwise I probably would have been eaten. But it is a fantastic excursion that I think you're just going to love, and hopefully you will see bear at the time. And then you're also going to go to the Rainforest Sanctuary, where you're going to see some reindeer and some owls and a few other wildlife. I think there's an eagle there. We saw some eagles and some goats. I have a great picture of a goat on my phone, so lots of things to look at. So you're going to really, really enjoy that adventure. And then at 5:45, you're going to go back to the port, but you're going to have plenty of time to explore Ketchikan because the ship doesn't depart until 8 o'clock. And where the ship comes into port, it literally is right into the city. So you walk right off the ship and right into the city, and there's lots of little shops to go in. And so it's just a great little town to explore. So you'll have lots of time to do that on your own, get some souvenirs. Then on day 11, you're going to be at sea, and you're going to be cruising the Inside Passage. And that evening is when you're going to have your Bluegreen private farewell cocktail party, and that's going to be in the observation lounge, but you don't need to remember that now. You'll get an itinerary when you arrive for your trip. That'll tell you that. And then that night, that is your last night on ship, and that's when you're going to need to put your luggage outside your cabin door for pickup around 10 o'clock. And again, NCL will provide all the instructions to you. You'll have that in your cabin. There's going to be color-coded tags that you put on your luggage, because when you debark when you debark the cruise ship in Vancouver, your debarkation time is based on your flight schedule. So the earlier your flight schedule, the earlier you debark. So the cruise line knows what your flight schedule is because we provide that to them. So they will give you bag tags, color-coded, that will let you know when your time is to get off the ship. Now, for those who purchase the optional Vancouver tour, information regarding your transfers will be provided to you by Bluegreen on the final day of your trip, and again, it will be in the little mail slot by your door. So that's really it for all the things I think you need to know beforehand. So, Carlos, I'm going to turn it back over to you for any questions we may have.
Thank you so much, and great job, Chris. You've definitely painted a great picture, and I think your experience has served as well. And I got to say that from the wildlife standpoint, there is going to be so many opportunities to see wildlife. And one of the things that you mentioned was the Dall sheep. You see the Dall sheep, and it's incredible that also the amount of bald eagles that you see out there as well. So with some of the questions we have here, we have a question on shore excursions. How do I select excursions after I already selected them a first time? And what is the best way to look at excursions available on any particular day/time? So when it comes to the Norwegian Cruise Line excursions, those are available at ncl.com. As Chris pointed out, you can log on and see all available excursions. As far as changing any excursions that you already pre-selected, you can contact Bluegreen Vacations, and you can go ahead and cancel those excursions. And the refund will take a couple of days for that refund to go back, and you can cancel them that way. Those would be probably the best two ways to do that. Is either cancel them and then you can rebook them on our website, or you can contact Bluegreen Vacations if you're having difficulties. We have another question here. The names that NCL has for us are just our first and last names. They do not match up with our passports. When it comes to your legal names, they do have to match your passports. So if they are any different than they do display in your passport, please contact your Bluegreen Vacations, and we can go ahead and make those changes because they do have to match up. So whatever you have on your passport, that's what we will need to have in our system so that the manifest matches up with your identification.
Carlos?
Yes.
I have two of my colleagues here, Tracy Burnett, who's the Director of Travel, and she is one of the hosts for the trip. And I also have Melissa here, and she is the Supervisor of Travel and will be hosting our second Alaska trip. And Tracy wanted to just give you a little bit of feedback on name changes.
Well, they can put their names in as they appear on their passports when they register online.
Okay.
Add their middle name at that point.
Correct. Yeah, you can do that on your own when you do your online embarkation.
Right, and you can and you should.
Okay.
Make sure that everything that goes into that when you're registering online matches exactly.
We have somebody here that is having problem printing their e-docs. What we will do is we will send you via email the phone number you can contact if you're having issues with your e-docs. Sometimes the issues with the e-docs, it can be the browser that you're using or your connection speed on your computer. So what we will do is we'll get you the help desk number so that you can call them and make sure that you have the proper browser set up in order to access the e-docs. Normally, that's something that our technical team can answer that for you. I guess this question, what is Bing? Bing is a web browser, so I'm not sure if this is related to the same question, but Bing is a web browser that you use, and sometimes when you're having issues using a particular browser, then Bing is one of the options that you have out there as far as browsers like Internet Explorer, like Firefox. So that is what Bing is. I take vitamins daily. Do I have to bring the full bottle. In this particular case, if it is a vitamin and it looks like a vitamin, you don't have to bring the full bottle. You can bring them in your, in your prepackaged, vitamin packs that you have. So that's not an issue. I think the issue is just when you have medications that are prescribed medications, that's when we ask that you bring that actual bottle with the label on it. So how do we get to the train from the Hilton? You will have motor coach transfers, so those are already set up for you. We have 2 motor coaches that will be available that will transfer you, so there is no walking necessary. There's a question regarding self-embark time and procedures. As far as embarkation, on the day of sailing, your eDocs will have all that information, when the earliest time is for you to embark. Normally embarkation happens, around the noon time, depending on whether the ship is cleared by U.S. Customs. And then as far as getting off the ship and being able to come back, you will get all the details as soon as you embark on the ship. You get on the ship and you disembark. If you're going to, let's say, walk around town, it'll have last call. Basically, you'll have a sign when you go through the security screening area. It'll say last call for the gangway to come up, and it'll give you the exact time and when the gangway will be pulled up.
And one more thing I might add is the day of embarkation, we actually have a tour on that day.
Okay.
We're going to be at Alyeska, and after the tram ride, we're going to then head over to Anchorage for the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, and then we will be heading over after that to the port. And all of these are done as a group. So we will head to the port as a group and be there around 3:30 for embarkation.
Excellent. There's a question in regards. I have asked about transfers and been told that since we are arriving prior to 8/6 and leaving after 8/17, the transfer is not included. As far as transfers, we set up transfers around our parameters. If you're coming in outside of your the parameters of the trip that Bluegreen Vacations has set up, you would have to set up those transfers on your own. Tracy, I don't know if you have anything to chime in.
Carlos, yes, we have transfers. Chris went over it in the presentation. We have transfers for those that are not arriving on the 6th.
Okay.
That are not departing on the final day. We have those arranged in Anchorage with a company called Shuttleman. They will have a manifest. They know who to expect and when to expect them. And then their final day transfers will be delivered on a note card to their cabin during the cruise. Okay. So transfers are included. They do not have, no one has to take care of transfers. Okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you. There is a question here in regards to flight times. Bluegreen Vacations does have all the flight times. So what will happen is that they will communicate with us all of the flight times for everybody that's on this particular trip, and then we will be sharing this information with our tour company, so that way we know if there's any delays or any flight cancellations, whatever the case is, we know to have folks at the airport when those flights arrive. So that information has already been shared. Does the ship have Wi-Fi? There are Wi-Fi packages that you can purchase on board the sailing. We can provide, and those are available on ncl.com as far as the cost of the Wi-Fi packages.
I will mention that for those who haven't experienced Wi-Fi on the ship, it's not as good as when you're on land. So while there is Wi-Fi available and you can get connections, there's the bandwidth, there's so many people on it trying to access it that you might have to try back at a later time to actually get through on the Wi-Fi.
Or it may be very slow.
Or it could be very slow. Yeah, so just want you all to be aware that it's not as good as it would be if you were on land.
Correct. There is a question in regards to what is included in the 2-day post trip in Vancouver.
Say that again.
What is included in the 2-day post trip in Vancouver?
The hotel and all taxes, the Vancouver city tour, and transfers.
Okay.
And we will have a Bluegreen representative staying in Vancouver during that time for if they need anything.
There is a question in regards to how will our carry-on bags be handled while on the land tour? And in regards to that question, if it's a light bag, you can obviously carry it with you. But if it's something that it's a little bit larger bag and you don't want to carry it with you, normally the motor coaches are locked up while they are parked. But we always suggest if there's anything valuable or any medicines that you will need, we always suggest that you carry those with you. So if it's like, just layers of clothes and things like that, snacks that you want to kind of leave behind, I would suggest that you can leave those. But if it's any valuables or, any medicine or anything important that you'll need with you, identifications and things like that, obviously, things like cash or anything like that, make sure that you carry those with you.
And there's a little bit of storage overhead the seat, but it's not big. It's not like a airplane where you can put a carry-on bag up there. It's more going to be a very small bag that you can put up there, or you can put a bag, backpack size would work. You can put a bag by your feet, but the motor coach can also accommodate if you have a carry-on that you want to lock up with all the others. They have luggage compartments.
Okay.
While you're looking at the other question, there's just a few other things I wanted to talk about. One of them is the included amenities that come with your package. You're going to have some chocolate-covered strawberries. Those are going to be delivered to your cabin. They should be there on the first day. And then you also have a credit for dinner at La Cucina restaurant. That is not going to be a group dinner. It's a credit that's going to be on your account. And you would make reservations on your own for that dinner. And, of course, if you want to join each other, you can certainly do that. But you just need to make sure you make reservations for dinner at La Cucina. And then the other thing we recommend is to call your cell phone provider and just let them know that you're traveling to Alaska and, determine what type of service is available for you in Alaska, as well as if you're going to be in Vancouver. It's also a good idea to call your credit card company so that if they see charges that start popping up in Alaska and Vancouver, that they know that you are actually the one placing those charges. Because I can tell you from experience, I went to Grand Cayman once and tried to purchase something, some jewelry actually, and the bank wouldn't allow it because they thought security-wise that it might have been stolen. So we did get that worked out, but highly recommend that you call your bank or your credit card company and just let them know that you're going to be traveling and the dates that you're going to be traveling. Actually, you can do that online with most credit card companies now too, so you wouldn't even need to call them. Any other questions, Carlos?
Yes, there is a couple here. There's some questions around the hotel reservations. The hotels listed in the presentation are the actual hotels. I know that for some folks that have viewed their reservation or have called our help desk, they've been advised about being at another hotel. And rest assured, we've gone over this, with our hotel department several times. It's just a system glitch where it's not showing the proper hotel. There is a default hotel that shows up in some of the reservations, but the hotels that we discuss are the actual hotel reservations that we have set up, and we've already, like verified it about 3 times with our travel provider or hotel provider in Alaska.
So, and just to reconfirm that you will be staying at the Hilton Anchorage. So when you're in Anchorage, it is the Hilton Anchorage.
Correct. We're seeing some questions here regarding wildlife. What are the chances of seeing whales? I've gone on 2 trips. One, we saw lots of whales, and on the other, we saw no whales whatsoever. So, to be honest with you, it's nature. There's sometimes we just can't cue in the whales when we want to. So, at the end of the day, it's just, we're hoping for great weather, and we're hoping to seeing a lot of wild animals. Do you recommend bringing a light jacket or heavy jacket? We recommend you bringing, something you feel comfortable with. You can, I prefer to dress in layers. It all depends on how cold you get and how much you want to carry. But normally the best suggestion is for you to dress in layers. That way you don't have to carry a heavy jacket around.
Yeah, and I just might add that, in the mornings, the temperatures are going to be around, the mid 40s, 45, 50. And in the afternoon, the highs are going to be around 60. And, during that time, obviously in the 40s, it's going to be pretty chilly. So I really do need to emphasize that you bring some layers. It doesn't need to be your heaviest winter coat, but, if you have a sweater and a fleece, long sleeve shirt, and just layer one thing on top of the other with a coat, then you're going to be comfortable. Bring a light hat, some gloves. You might be warm. They've been having a very warm summer in Alaska, so you might get there and, it'll be warmer than we think. But just to be on the safe side, I would definitely recommend that you bring some clothes to layer to stay warm.
Right. Chris and I were in Alaska 2 years ago, and on one day, we experienced every possible weather phenomenon.
We did.
From fog to heat to wind to rain to hail, snow, cold. So that it's just because of the elevation. So you should be prepared. It's all part of the experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in that case, I had on a long sleeve shirt, then I had a zip-up sweater, and then I had a winter coat with my hat and gloves. And I can tell you I was putting them on and stripping them off depending on where we were at along the trip. So definitely be prepared, knowing, when you're in the mountains, obviously it's going to be colder. When you're traveling along a glacier, might be a little bit colder. But the sun's shining in some areas, you could be nice and toasty.
Right. And the other thing about clothing, please, please, please pack sensible shoes. Good walking shoes, closed-toe shoes. You will definitely be happy that you did.
Mm-hmm. You can pack your high heels for dress night if you want to dress up. Just don't wear them on the tours. Make sure you have room in your suitcase for the souvenirs too.
That's so true. There are some questions regarding day 2, if there's any suggested excursions for in Denali while in day 2. I'll leave that up to you all, but I believe you're gonna be at the national park, so you'll be taking the rail over to the national park, and then the afternoon you're basically it's the evening on your own. So we might be able to.
They'll see all of that if they go to the Denali Park Village
Correct.
website. There's a dinner show, and there are a couple of excursions, hiking, a couple of hiking trips. So go to that website and check it out. It gives a full description.
Okay. I take insulin. Do I have to take my 3-month supply? No, you don't. When it comes to the things like insulin, You don't have to bring your full 3 month supply. I think that there are certain cases where I don't think that somebody's going to mistake an insulin for something else.
I just put up on the screen the slide that, excuse me, that has the web addresses again for the Denali Park Village.
Okay.
So you can see that on there, denaliparkvillage.com, and then the longer government web address as well.
Or we have some questions regarding what is available for purchase from NCL. It's a very vague questions. I mean, we have items that you can pre-purchase prior to the cruise, but while on board, we do have a small gift shop and duty-free gift shop on board. So we do have items on board for you to purchase. And, we have, certain items like cameras, and in case you forget your camera or whatever the case is. We do have a small gift shop on board that you can purchase items like that.
Here, I pulled up on the screen the Denali Park Village website. So if you look up here, you can see that I have drop downs. It shows you the Alaska Cabin Night Dinner Theater here, different tours, but we have, tours already planned for you. But if there's rafting, hiking, other activities, upcoming events, that's all in there. Plus, if you scroll over here to plan, it's got other things. It's got travel tips, packing list, that type of thing. And, excuse me. If you want to read about the lodge where you're going to be staying, you can take a look there. So lots of good information here on this website. So I highly recommend that you check it out.
Let's see here. Are covered gratuities for the shift staff, gratuities, drivers are in both. So there's a question around the gratuities and what's included as far as gratuities.
Gratuities are completely covered.
Perfect.
Gratuities are completely covered for all of the tour guides, bus drivers. The onboard gratuities have been prepaid. The hosts that are going to be accompanying you on each bus, and there will be 4 buses, have all of the tips pre-packaged, and they will be taking care of it on your behalf. Of course, if you find exceptional service that you want to, reward someone with an extra tip, that's certainly up to you.
We have a question regarding the Hilton Anchorage. There's grocery stores in that area, and there is stores where you can go and purchase snacks prior to your land tour. So, there are stores in the vicinity. There is a question regarding on the long bus tours, are bathrooms on there are bathrooms on the bus? There is a bathroom on the bus. We were also instructed that there will be scheduled photo opportunities for photo opportunity stops, as well as bathroom stops for everyone to kind of get out and stretch their legs and go to the bathroom.
And as far as the tipping, if you buy a cocktail on the ship and you sign for it, they will automatically put a gratuity on that. So you can tip above and beyond that, but I think it's 15%. So if you buy a $10 drink, there's going to be another $1.50 on it. And it's charged to your onboard account.
There is one more question regarding documents. Once you complete your online registration and you complete that process, it'll prompt you for you to print out your e-docs. And once those are printed, then you'll bring you'll bring that printout with you in order to facilitate the check-in once you get to the ship.
Carlos?
Yes.
We have a few first-time cruisers with us.
Okay.
Can you explain a little bit about their onboard account and how that works?
Sure. So once you do your online your online check-in, which you go to our website at ncl.com, you create a profile and it'll ask you for your booking number, your last name, and the ship you're sailing on. You sign up there, and it'll take you on a step-by-step process um, when it comes to doing your online checking, making sure that we have the proper names and your identification and all that stuff. And then you're going to get to a screen that will ask you for the way you're going to pay for your onboard purchases. So the way Norwegian works is that you'll have one key card that will serve as your room key and your charge card on the ship, as well as an identification for that particular room that you have while you're on board the ship. So that key card will serve as everything. You will, log in and you will put down a credit card for the purchases that you will be doing on the ship. And if you choose, let's say, if you choose to, finalize your bill via cash, then you can, or, traveler's checks or whatever the case is, then you can do so at the end of the trip, the last night of the cruise. But we highly suggest for you to use a credit card to finalize your purchases. You do get a full report of what your purchases are, and if you have any doubts about purchases, you can go into our purchase desk, which is our front desk, and dispute any items or any charges on that list that you will receive from us. But otherwise, that card will serve as everything for you. So whenever you're going anywhere on the ship and you want to purchase a drink, whatever the case is, you'll use that card for the particular charges on board the ship. And then also when you're debarking, when you're getting off the ship and going on a shore excursion, you'll need an ID as well as that key card that we provide.
Yeah, so just to reiterate that, when you're on board the ship, whether you're in a restaurant or you are in the shop buying something, you will never be using your credit card on the ship. Or cash. Neither
with your key card.
So it'll always be your key card, and then at the end of the trip, you will settle up your account, and at that time, you can determine if you want to keep it on the credit card that you signed up with, or if you want to check out with cash. That's also on your account where the $20, I believe it's $20 credit for the La Cucina restaurant is going to be. So you won't actually have cash in hand for that. You're just going to have $20 credit on your account that is for the La Cucina.
There are folks asking for their booking number that should have been provided to you. Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, it should have been provided.
Yeah, it's about an 8-digit reservation number.
Tell them they would have received it in the email confirmation that they received from us.
Okay. So you should have received an email confirmation with your reservation number. If you haven't done so, please contact Bluegreen Vacations. I also have another person asking for them to be contacted. I do have your phone number here and your name. I will forward this information on. And then last question is, what hotel are we staying in Vancouver?
She's looking that up now.
Okay, thank you.
I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight for the webinar. I hope that we've given you lots of information to make you feel a little better about your upcoming trip. And it looks like in Vancouver we're going to be staying at the Marriott Pinnacle. So that is the Marriott Pinnacle in Vancouver. And as Carlos said, if you have any additional questions, you can either email us at travel.request@bluegreenvacations.com, or you can call us at our 800 number, which is 1-800-459-1597. So I think that concludes our webinar this evening. I I'm getting another note here. I don't know what that says. Oh, it doesn't? Okay, you can speak.